I bought you a book over the holidays. Here's what it is.
This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained?
Ah, that is music to my ears. I've missed that because we haven't done a show since the new year. So this is the first one back. Happy 2025. What's the shot clock on wishing somebody a happy new year? Anybody? No, we don't care. All right. This is the last time you'll hear that from me. But we have a great show to kick off the new year. And in the sponsor opportunity green room, we have WWE Hall of Famer John Bradshaw Layfield, King Gitte Bailu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the world-renowned sevens coach, and George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and they'll be addressing what's on the Your Company Name Here slate. Let's get to it. Gentlemen, welcome back. Haven't seen you since 2024.
Things haven't changed.
You all look great, refreshed, and everything else. And we're coming off a collective 31-17 week. That's pretty damn good. Congratulations, great to see you, Mike. Are you in Fiji? Is that where you are?
I am. I'm down in the land of the sevens. It's hot here, especially for the English bloke with ginger skin. But we're living the dream. We're living the dream. The views are fantastic. The people are amazing. It's just a very cool, friendly, calming place to be.
So, Mike, are you down recruiting the new Ireland backline?
I'm over here for the top 14 clubs in France, if I'm honest with you. I'm up there. I'm up the French Academy. Just down there for the sevens competition. First sevens competition of the year at the Coral Coast. Be a great affair. We've got New Zealand over, Australia. We've got a Mike Friday Select Sevens. We've got Fiji over. And then we've got a bucket load of local village teams, which will be the teams to watch because it's just the nuts tournament over 3 days. You know, fabulous quality, and it is the home of sevens. So this is where you come to learn. This is where you come to play.
Mike, you mentioned off camera some of those names that are down there with you with the Select Sevens. Is there any shot that we can get on that team?
Honestly, you three would be top of the tree when it comes to the support crew, the drinking mob, although you would insist on shade and probably air conditioning.
Not if we're drunk enough.
Because believe it or not, it's very hot down here. It's very hot down here.
So, all right, Mike.
Hey, King and I have watched the Islanders play rugby. We're not getting on the pitch. We are not getting out there. We're not getting close to it.
Valid point. All right, let's go around the table here. Gift, anything that you noticed this last weekend that you wanted to talk about?
2025 came through, and South Africa continues to not care one bit of damn about the European Cup.
They sure don't.
Not one iota.
They don't care at all.
Sort of like you about this show.
I mean,
Austin wasn't playing. Etzebeth wasn't playing. They don't care.
They don't care. They said, this is our break time. Hey, you guys can go ahead and get your little puny wins. Dupont, feel good for a day because we know you're never going to win the big one for us. So let's go.
There's a lot in there. But, John, they didn't play their injured players. They played everybody but the injured players. Etzebeth is hurt. And they tried to get him healthy for this match.
Half their backline's hurt. Come on.
Yeah. Hurt.
They did not sit anybody in that match deliberately. No.
Oh, wah.
No, I'd like to see both teams go at it full strength.
These are pro athletes.
Okay. All right. Well, they're injured. They didn't bench guys for that particular match.
It's this stupid load management that this snowflake world has come up with.
For the most part.
So we're calling the South African snowflakes. That's good to know. Over to you lot. You're on your own now.
I'm not calling Etzebeth a snowflake. That man whooped me.
He is an angry man.
I love Etzebeth, but play him.
He's hurt. He literally is hurt. So most of the time.
Oh, wait a minute. You're the one that was bashing Owen Farrell for years. You're like, Owen Farrell this, Owen Farrell that. One of the best players in the history of freaking rugby. You're the ultimate troll.
That is fundamentally false. I said he's the kind of guy that you'd love on your team, but you hate to play against. And he gets away with every penalty. By the way, his groin is now fully healed, and he's rumored to be returning shortly. So we'll check that with our Racing 92 picks. John, what did you take away from the weekend?
that Zebre doesn't know how to win. Like they dominated the second half. They should have won. They should have won that game by 2 or 3 tries, and they end up losing at death. Zebre is a cover machine. If you're going to bet somebody, bet Zebre. That they're not winning games, but they're covering games. They're covering the point spreads. They just don't know how to win. They don't know how to close out games yet. It's like King has talked about many times. Sometimes culture goes both ways. When culture is you're losing, that culture snowballs on you. That's what it is with Zebre right now. They are a tough team. They're not a good team. They're much better than they were, but they just don't know how to win. They had that game wrapped up. They should have won by 2 or 3 tries.
And Benetton covered in the Champions Cup against Bristol. So the Italian team's at least being competitive. So that's a good thing. Mike, a lot of stuff circulating around the number 9 position. You know, you had the law changes or the tweaks to the law about where the scrum half has to stand for defense, but it didn't seem to affect any of the number 9s, the top number 9s in the competition on the weekend. Can you explain to us this front row channel thing that the scrum half has to stay wherever he can't follow the other scrum half around?
Well, he's just going to stay behind the ball. That's the long and the short of it is. And I think.
So what's the difference?
There isn't a lot of difference. That's the long and the short. It just means that you can't put as much pressure on the 9 at the back of the scrum because they're trying to get the ball away. It's a bit like the straight feed or the crooked feed and all of that, whatever it is. You know, as long as you put it down the middle, but you stand your side of the tunnel, then no problem. I mean, it's optics, Matt. It's optics. It's all it is. Ultimately, it's get in, get out. They're not, but they don't want to devalue the scrum as well. But you know, at the end of the day, the top players, they just get on with it.
All right, guys. Now it's time to pick our Champions Cup Player of the Week. The nominees are Thomas Ramos, the number 15 from Toulouse. When you stand out with Antoine Dupont on the pitch, that's good. He was very good. He was the catalyst from the fullback position and made tough kicks look easy under the pressure in Durban. Matt Fagerson, the number 6 for Glasgow. The near-freezing temperatures, Mike, didn't keep the unsung hero from doing the dirty work around the rucks, exploiting defenses with the ball, and adding to his tackle count. And then, last but not least, Damien Penaud, the number 14 for Bordeaux, had a hat trick despite passing off what easily could have been his 3rd try to a teammate, but then got the 3rd one later anyway. He basically accounted for half his team's 69 points. Childish jokes welcome. John, who's your pick?
You ever notice, King, that Matt is like the white newscaster that all of a sudden he brings up a South American name and he turns into like this bilingual goof? Oh, Mega Ramos from Venezuela.
Los Ramos.
It's just like he turns.
I see it.
It's the absolute worst.
Just pick the Player of the Week, would you? Fagerson. Gift.
Fagerson, because doing it for the forwards, no French.
Bam!
Mike.
Penaud, magical Frenchman on the wing.
And here I am left to break the tie again. I've had drinks with Fagerson. I'm going with Matt Fagerson. Now,
you haven't had drinks with Fagerson. You have no, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't. He has no idea who you are.
He's been to New York City twice.
Champ. You know what he says is drinks. He saw the interview and then he just raised the beer to him. He said it's a drink with me.
That's right.
Gifts Mike has been muted as we go to our recurring segment,
Grown Ass Man.
Candidates are Tag Beirne of Munster all over the pitch in an epic win over Saracens at Thomond Park, and crediting the fans as the 16th man, an extra boost for that vote. When you stand out against the South African pack, you are a big boy. Emmanuel Meafu, the number 5 for Toulouse at 6'8", 290 pounds, did just that and had himself one hell of a ball game. Uni Antonio of La Rochelle, when this 150-kilo, 330-pound, 6'4" mountain prop walked off the pitch, the Leinster front row were seen doing backflips. The field shifted, literally, when he left. John, who's your vote for?
Was Tag Beirne wearing a freaking little silly helmet?
Definitely he was.
Then I ain't voting for nobody wearing that stupid thing on top of their head. That ain't a tough man.
Who you
Give
picking?
me Antonio.
All right. Gift.
I'm not gonna lie, John really made a good argument right there. It's so hard, but again,
Idiots.
I refuse to support France if they don't do what they do in their own top 14. EC doesn't make the difference for me, so I'm gonna go with Ty. But Ty, please, you got to stop wearing that stupid helmet. All right,
Take off
you
the
got
helmet.
to help me out here. Help me out here.
All right, Mike. Please lend some credibility, some sensibility to it.
I'm going with the Mayor folk. He had his French beef down in South Africa. Did a proper job. He wasn't injured. He played the game unlike Zebre.
Yes. Yes.
He didn't play a whole game though, and neither did.
He played enough though. He played enough.
Yes, he did. He played all he needed to.
All right. Okay. All right. I am not going to break the tie because I am going to pick Ty Beirne of Munster.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
Why don't you put on one of those stupid little helmets?
shambles. What a shambles.
Ty Beirne.
Is this week's grown-ass man.
All right. On that note, we have to break. We're going to bring in George, and then we'll be back with you guys with our picks and more after this.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap-Up.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we're back with George Hook. And George, we have a new segment called Headlines with Hook. But before we get to that, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. And look, while I was waiting for you, I'm on the gin and tonic. So we should tell the viewers that Hook may not be, his normal serious depth after all this gin.
Well, gin only makes you improve, right? It only brings out the best in you. So I'm all for it. In fact, everybody at home should start drinking gin anytime you see George.
Yeah, well, I mean, at my age, I don't think I live long enough to become an alcoholic. You know what I mean? So I don't think it matters much.
All right, George, before they tune out, because they didn't tune in for a drinking show, allegedly, Let's get to the rugby and our new segment, Headlines with Hook. I read a headline, you comment. Very simple. Let's start with Alona Marr, the USA 7-star / 15-star / Dancing with the Stars internet sensation, is playing with Bristol. And she had her first game last week, and it was at home. She came off the bench. This week, she started in the starting lineup on the road in Exeter, and she made a big impact. Is she the rugby messiah for all of us that we've been waiting for, George?
I think the short answer will be no, right? Not because of her, but because the problems of women's rugby are bigger and more deep-seated than one person, no matter how. I don't think the Virgin Mary could fix it. You know what I mean? I watched that match, interestingly, because normally women's Premier Rugby doesn't get television time, and that did, and I watched it. And sevens is the game for women. Because the scrum doesn't suit women, the line-out doesn't suit women, the ruck doesn't suit women. Sevens creates a platform for seven very athletic, quick, all those sort of things, and the women do very well at it. So I don't think there's a short answer, which is what you're looking for, to 15-a-side women. Now, the crowd surprised me. There were more people at that match than I thought would be at that match.
Yeah, it was a good crowd.
There's a bigger crowd at that match, and some of the South African teams get back home. So that was good. I mean, but it's an awful long way for the game to go.
So, George, let's move to the next headline. What about Mac Hansen versus the referee?
Okay, Mac Hansen is a foreigner, of course, but he's plays for Ireland and plays for Connacht. So he's playing for Connacht. They lose, and the referee, the penalty count goes against them. And then he goes off on what I can only describe as an X-rated rant against the referee, where he, without using the word cheating, he almost did, right? Now, belatedly, I mean, the authorities made a Horlicks of it.
Yes.
They made a mess of it, but they should have done something immediately. So just because it's Christmas and New Year over here, Christmas and New Year lasts about 3 months, they didn't have a meeting until recently. They then conveniently gave Hansen a 6-week suspension, 3 weeks off it, so that conveniently makes him available for the Six Nations Championship. So are they going to punish him or not punish him, right? But that's not the point. So referee, who was Irish, Chris Busby, he's retired because of the abuse. And then earlier this year, one of the TMOs retired early because of the abuse. Okay? Now, this BS about, respect for referees and everything, that went out the day the game became professional. So when I played as an amateur, of course I respected the referee because he was like me. He was doing it for nothing, for love of the game.
Right.
These guys are paid, right? If Daniel Craig goes on the stage at Stratford-on-Avon and plays Hamlet and he's terrible, he takes stick for it, right? Because he's a professional. And these guys are complaining about getting social media abuse. Give me a break. I got social media, not just me, but I got,
You got hammered.
Ingrid got a letter with a used condom in it, right?
No.
Now, Nigel Owens has me crying because he says, I received death threats in the email. Like, we all got death threats. Like, every week on my social media, they called me all kinds of things. One fella said it was a tragedy and my mother became pregnant.
Oh, man.
And gave birth to me. So this is part of it.
So you're saying, picking up the skin a little bit, you're a referee, you're in the spotlight. This is what you've chosen for an occupation.
Correct. And you live with it. If you don't want to live with it, don't do it.
All right, next headline, George. Munster and Leinster with huge wins. Ronan O'Gara's aging side will rue missed opportunities, specifically about critical kicks late in the game from their number 10. And Leo Cullen, meanwhile, has to be a little bit concerned about the kicking for his squad after Prendergast. Late in that match, it was exposed. What do you say?
Well, if you watch that match, which obviously I did, right? I watched the Munster match more because that's my team. But in the Leinster game, La Rochelle were all over them for the first half. All over them, right? And all they got was a couple of penalties for their troubles, right? Then Leinster, as they do. I mean, you got to remember, Leinster now, it's now 5 years. What? 5 years for Leinster have been arguably one of the top teams in the whole competition. So they're not going to roll over, right? And they didn't. O'Gara had more injury problems at La Rochelle. Oh, by the way, half of Ireland was cheering for La Rochelle because O'Gara did that. All us Munster fellas were cheering for La Rochelle. But anyway, he had an injury list. So that's part of the problem. Now, he lost his two starting props in the first half. I mean, that's a big ask, right? The biggest thing was Munster had a penalty which would have put them 5 points ahead instead of 2.
Leinster had the penalty.
Sorry, Leinster. And Ross Byrne missed it.
Yeah.
They now get another penalty from almost the same place. And Ross Byrne doesn't take it. They give it to what's his name from New Zealand?
Jordy Beirne.
And he misses it. Now, I guarantee you, if we got a statistician in here, right, or an actuary, he would tell you that if you get 2 kickers to take 2 kicks, the odds on both of them missing once are higher than if you give one fella 2 kicks. So I just don't get, because remember, Beirne is the most consistent kicker in Leinster. He is far and away the most consistent kicker. Maybe he was injured. Maybe there was something. I don't know. But it was a bad decision. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw Barrett coming up to take the kick. Couldn't believe it. Now, Munster, on the other hand, I remember once doing a commentary on a Munster match where they had to win by 25 points or something to qualify. And they won by 25. And I said, this place, Thomond Park, I remember, is the new Lourdes. People will come here to worship, right? And they do that. They eke out a win when they shouldn't. And that was a real Munster performance. Although, interesting you talked about Prendergast, I thought Crowley didn't do himself any favours. I didn't think he was great. And the other thing is...
He was better late in the match.
Correct. Good comment. Murray, on the other hand, looks every day of his 35 years.
Yeah.
His passing has got slower, if that's possible. Sometimes I thought I turned my telly to slow motion. And he's always been a bad box kicker, and his box kicking was terrible. And they've got a good guy on the bench. They've got a guy called Paddy Prendergast on the bench, because Casey's hurt, remember.
Right.
But it was a great win. Now, they have to go to Northampton next week. But Northampton got hockeyed.
Yeah.
Northampton were 20-odd points in front, and then suddenly implosion, and they concede 45.
Crazy.
Exeter concede 69.
Crazy.
At home.
Yeah.
So the Premiership, they're pretty average, most of it.
Well, we don't have time for this, but maybe we pick it up next time. Well, it's these teams picking the different setups that they're gonna play for. Like look at what happened with the Bulls and Castres. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, George, we are out of time. I want to thank you, Mr. George Hook, once again for Headlines with Hook.
Headlines with Hook.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
And we're back, and we are picking our Champions Cup matches. John, why don't you lead us off?
Ben Russell is a freaking magician. The man is a modern-day Houdini. The little chip kick he had this past week was absolutely outstanding, and that's something he just does as course of habit. It's unbelievable. I'm going to go with Bath to take this game because of the expert advice from Coach Mike Friday, legendary Coach Mike Friday, because the other team has already qualified. So give me Bath over Leinster, 17.5 points. I think Bath covers.
From the look on Gift's face, I don't think he likes that pick. Gift, what pick do you like?
I mean, look, I am never against it. Finn Russell is an absolute beast. Everybody saw what happened on the last Six Nations. But look, I'm looking over here at Harlequin in the Glasgow, and I'm just sitting here thinking, man, can we see if Marcus is going to be able to show out again? As long as they allow him to play, I think Harlequins are capable of covering. I think Glasgow, as also informed by the great Fijian, the hyena, Mike Friday, Glasgow might be resting out their players. So this is a real opportunity for Harlequins to actually find their rhythm, especially with the Premiership season about to return again soon.
Wow.
Mike isn't even from Fiji, and he's already the most important Fijian next to Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Wasel Sarevi.
All right. Okay. Mike, now all the pressure's on you for this pick.
Yeah. I'm looking at that Northampton Saints Munster game. Saints have qualified. They've got a massive Premiership game a week after. So I think Saints will win the game, but I think Munster will cover. So I think I'm going to go Munster to lose to either win or lose by less than 9.
I'm going to pick the Bulls to get their balls back after being castrated by Castres and take it out on Stade Francais in a big way. Whatever the over is, bet the over. because the French aren't going to bring anybody down to that match. We'll be back after this.
From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. And on that note, gentlemen, it's time for John's favorite segment, Picks of the Week. Johnny, who's your pick?
I'm going with the same pick of the legendary coach Mike Friday down in Fiji. I like Munster to cover this because of the fact that they have something to play for. And Todd Beirne, I hope he doesn't wear that stupid helmet again. I don't know.
I hope he punches you in the face.
You guys choke in championships. You're like, then you're like this big tough guy's wearing some little silly helmet.
Oh, gift.
I love it. Look, man, let's take it over to the east side, over in Japan Rugby League 1. Look, I'm looking at the Kabuto, the Black Knights taking on the Toyota Verblitz. One of my favorite teams out there. Look, this is going to be a big scoring match because nobody knows how to play defense, nor are they paid enough to care about playing defense. Look at this to be a total points of over 60. Over under 60 is the marker. It will be over 60. I honestly think it's going to be a 90-point total game, but it's definitely going to be over 60 for sure.
So they're only paid to play offense?
Yeah.
Look. Hey, they said they understand what their audience wants. You know, they said
I didn't know.
And they got a lot of those superstars that are semi-aging that have the big contracts. They don't want to. They just want to score.
Hey, if I'm getting paid to play millions after retirement, hey, man, protect my body, all right? Protect my body. I don't need to hit anybody.
That's right. I'll score. I ain't tackling nobody.
I ain't tackling nobody.
All right,
even
Michael.
if I wore a Philly helmet.
Michael, who's your pick?
Well, I'm open for a defense job in Japan. I'm up for it.
You'd be the only defense coach there, apparently.
I'm going for Sale Toulon. I think 1.5 Sale are going to blow Toulon away. It's cold up north. Toulon are coming away from France, having already qualified. I think Sale rack the points up here. Sale probably haven't got a lot to play for, but the reality is they're at home. They're getting ready for the Premiership. They'll need a response after the weekend. I think Sam give Toulon a good bashing.
All right. Well, those picks are in, and my pick is La Rochelle to absolutely destroy Benetton in Treviso. On that note, I want to thank John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer, turned rugby advocate, King Gifte Belu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the world-renowned sevens coach in Fiji, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Tell your friends about us. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. It won't kill you. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.